Sorry, did you want to get immersed in our world? Yeah, well, guess what? Pronouns! Gender ambiguity! Current day Californian, because that's all we know, because we're boring! We're so boring!
What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering. I've got a new update with all the shenanigans and new releases and new outrages over the Starfield game, which isn't even officially out yet from what I can tell. It's been very interesting. Most of the hot takes are coming from talking heads like myself. The player base seems to, in general, enjoy the game. Sure, there are people refunding it for your typical early release Bethesda reasons, things like bugs, or there are people who are in fact annoyed by the initial request for pronouns and the high degree of hashtag girl boss, powerful, strong, independent women who don't need no man NPCs, which is just going to be a part of today's AAA video game market. But there are more hot takes from the Act Man and many others who continue to insist that pronouns are no big deal while continually nonstop tweeting about pronouns. So it's been a very interesting thing. I hope you're enjoying my coverage. If you are, please do subscribe down below. I do 4 to 5 videos a day. I don't just cover video games, but I also cover technology, censorship issues, everything going on in the world today, and I would love to earn your subscription. Let's start with a take from Annie Fuchsia writing. So apparently you can refund Starfield with no restrictions on playtime because it's an early access game. So people that played early access, this individual had 25.4 hours into the game, also received a full refund. 10 out of 10 would refund again. Starfield, the game is an unfinished, buggy mess. Well, that's according to them. Now, consumer protection, I think, is reasonable. That's why one of the big reasons everyone prefers to purchase their games on Steam, like me as well. But this is a little spicy. I mean, if you play the entire game and then it's like eating your whole meal at a restaurant, having like 2 peas left on the plate, and then being like, actually, I'd like a full refund. I didn't like it. So I wonder how long developers will continue to, put up with that. But you also see a lot of the things, like yesterday, it was reported that speedrunners had already defeated the game in just 3 hours. Now, a lot of Bethesda types games are, you could spend as much time as you want on side quests and things of that nature. I'm more of like a linear, when I play video games, it's kind of like a linear, I play the main quest. I don't really do side quests very often, but that's just one way to enjoy a video game. That's the beauty of video games. There's many, many ways that you can enjoy it. Bethesda says most of Starfield's 1,000 planets are dull on purpose because when the astronauts went to the moon, there was nothing there, but they certainly weren't bored. So what they're essentially saying is, it's got to be, the hope is that, of course, everybody who's enjoying the game enjoys some beautiful landscapes or interesting planets, things of that nature. Now, some people are not necessarily finding that to be the case, but onto the big hullabaloo. Now we've got Starfield voice actors, employees of Starfield, coming out and allegedly slamming phobic gamer bros. It's only been a few days since Bethesda gave gamers early access to the highly anticipated space exploration game Starfield, and already right-wing fans are furious. Again, this is a common, understand that this is pinknews.com, which is a far-left progressive reporting outlet. I don't believe that you have to be far right to not want politics in your video games and things of that nature. So, I mean, I think that's, that's a misrepresentation. The RPG role-playing game, they have to tell their fans that's what RPG means. So just so you know, that's what's going on with this website, right? Has earned decent reviews since its pre-release on Friday. Well, I don't know if you could say that because I don't really care about critic reviews. If you care about critic reviews, you are you are about to be taken advantage of. Critics, if you're new to the video game world or you've been around forever like me, video game reviews are access journalism, meaning only certain people get access to games early, and that is the inherent privilege of it. That means your video game outlet, your YouTube channel, your blog or Substack or TikTok, you get to create content around the game weeks before anyone else. That's how you make your money. Now, it's a quid pro quo, essentially, because people that consistently give fair or even negative reviews about these products stop getting them for free. So it inherently incentivizes people to give games overinflated scores. For example, gameblog.fr gives a 100. VGC gave it 100. IGN, no game should ever get a 100 score. I mean, maybe we could have an argument in the comments about a game that came out on day one and was absolutely perfect all the way through and deserved a 100. But anybody giving this game as 100 is a shill. The same way, anyone who might give the game a 0 on launch, would be dishonest. Of course, the lowest possible score they have is 70. Even IGN, which is a huge shill outlet, gave it a 70, saying Starfield is unrivaled large comprehensive space opera, although it plays too much like Bethesda's previous games and exploration of the planets is boring. It entertains with interesting stories and looks truly otherworldly. You also see modern video game critics who will negatively review a game based on the actual game maker's politics, or because they didn't get early access. So these video game journalists are completely untrustworthy. What I look at is user reviews, which we have none currently. Allegedly, there's one that is a mixed review, but they won't show it. So, they hold these reviews. Essentially, Metacritic used to be more trustworthy, but they stopped letting you review games early because if there was any kind of controversy with the game, which is what we're seeing now with Starfield, people would flood them with 0 out of 10 reviews, and then the fanboys would flood them with 10 out of 10 reviews. Essentially, in my experience, usually canceling each other out, but they wanted to stop that to protect video game companies, quite frankly, who buy advertising on places like Metacritic.com. Metacritic probably sells their email lists and all this type of things to other people. And so they need to stay in good with video game people, all the way Baldur's Gate, apparently. That's definitely on my playlist as well. I have no interest in sleeping with a grizzly bear, but I hear it's pretty good, and so I want to try that out. Interestingly enough, though, if we start looking at some of the the voice actors. Sorry, I didn't finish that sentence. You can never please anyone, and it would seem that the anti-woke gaming community has already found a few minor details to complain about. First was the backlash that ensued when players noticed that they were allowed to select their pronouns and the character pronouns in the character builder, the horror. Again, I went through this in yesterday's video. It is... Anybody who's going over the top to tell you it's no big deal is actually telling you it's a huge deal to them. We've seen this with a lot of responses. And again, I like the Act Man. He's been way over the top because he is a progressive, he's progressive in his politics. And so pronouns are an extremely important thing to him. Anybody that's going over the top saying, oh, it's no big deal, big deal, big deal. It is a big deal to them. Then you see it's fine if you're the horrified player who goes by the Gaming Christian, tweeted, gross, you can flirt with Sam Coe in Starfield. This is fine if you're a woman, but I always play as myself in a game. This goes against the story as Sam is a straight guy, just like yours truly, so why is there option for males? Other players were quick to point out that this shouldn't come as a shock. You don't have to flirt with a man if you don't want to, much like in real life. If you don't like it, don't play the game, one person suggested. A second reason's because some people are gay. Lomo, just because they choose a storyline, no one is forcing you to. And I think that's okay. That's a reasonable response. I think that it is kind of a slippery, field where modern, games are made by. Most people that work in these game studios are very progressive and woke, as people will say. On the grand list of insane woke things, this is not that big a deal to me. But what's interesting now, here's where you end up getting in trouble, though, is when the voice actor comes on and says, actually, I played Sam as Bai. Well, he's the voice actor. He's just saying the voice. I'm not sure what that means. But again, this is what people are talking about. Instead of talking about the gameplay or the cool mechanics or this, that, or the other thing, this is what people are talking about. Obviously, if this person is a Christian, they probably follow, some core tenets of Christianity with, that'll be an issue. You see, Steam Voices, your first RPG it's a point in the game you should present you with options that somehow knows you would only take in real life. I don't think RPGs are for you, dude. Even my video editor guy said, maybe this isn't that big of a deal. You see Harry Robinson over at Lotus Eater says, the Starfield discourse has revealed the rift between old anti-SJW crowd, those with actual political instincts and foresight, and those who would have happily agreed with Anita Sarkeesian if she had just been less smug about it. You see some black guy who used to be a popular YouTuber in kind of the anti-woke space, calling Az from Heelsfer's Babyface a man-child. We used to make fun of people like this that would freak out over the most insignificant things in games. Everything is woke. Y'all just replaced, a reference to Anita. He is over the top. And then you see, I think when you have this kind of dogpiling on people, this kind of over-the-top reaction where Hassan Piker says he needs to have a lobotomy because of his reaction, or you have the Ackman who keeps saying it's totally no big deal, repeatedly tweeting about him. You see the Ackman, or his dude is upset you can choose to be gay in a game, where you can also choose to be a psychopathic space pirate. I swear these people have no idea what an RPG is. Now, I would agree that these type of choices in a game, there's also, if you're immersed in an RPG, you think, okay, even if I'm not gay, maybe I'll flirt with this guy to achieve some goal or something like that. There are elements to that aren't big of a deal, but it's the weird amount of simping that you get is insane. And then, again, of course, finding old clips of Az from, years ago to try and dunk on him. Here's another meme trying to dunk on him. Getting 60,000 likes. So, clearly you're playing to a crowd of very woke / progressive people. And, some of the stuff in this game is woke, is, lame and over the top. But that's modern day AAA gaming. If you don't want this stuff in your video games, if you look behind me, there's a just in the Nintendo library, if you even want newer graphics, you go N64, Super Nintendo, there are a million games that you can play without modern politics. You can already see some of the first mods in Starfield. It's called Starfield. It's for the improvement of the startup screen, and startup and start screen is the top most downloaded mods in Nexus Gaming. I think that this is going to continue to escalate. You're going to have more of these attacks on people. Starfield isn't woke. You're just afraid of the future. The future. I guess I am afraid of the future, to be honest with you. But you have this whole us versus them mentality where games journalism now is picking up on this for clickbait to attack gamers who don't want it. Gamers are boycotting Starfield because player can add pronouns. Again, that's reductive. That's not exactly what it's all about. But I'll continue to cover this as more people speak out about it. I don't know. Are you playing the game? Are you enjoying the game? Do you feel like it's overly woke? If, I read my comments, so I definitely read, with joy if you read them. By the way, my channel is called The Quartering Again. I would sincerely hope I earn your subscription or follow down below. I try to present things in a fair and balanced manner. I also sell coffee. I have my own coffee roasters. This isn't some sort of drop ship thing. I want to let people know, if you like fresh, roasted on demand coffee available in whole bean and ground, my company offers some of the most unique flavors and unflavored coffee, our signature series coffees that you can find anywhere on the internet. Our dark roast, our Ethiopian, our Colombian medium roast sell extremely well. In the flavor world, our blueberry cobbler, strawberries and cream, orange creamsicle, s'mores, sticky cinnamon bun. I have something like 20 different flavors for you to try over at coffeebrandcoffee.com. Triple berry, blackberries, cream, French toast, maple pecan, rocky road, hazelnut cream, peaches and cream. I mean, I have so many flavors for you to try. I would love to earn your business over on coffeebrandcoffee.com. Promo code TheQuartering to save. We'll talk to you again real soon.